Professional painter Butch tells you the key techniques he uses to keep organized, work fast, choose tools and materials, and produce first-rate results. By following his tips, you'll paint a room with less effort, yet get done faster, and be happier with the quality of the job. I used to think I was a pretty good amateur painter. That is, until I worked with a real pro, my new painting guru, Butch. Like other successful tradespeople, he has to get the job done quickly and properly to keep his business healthy. The word-of-mouth referrals from satisfied customers take care of all of his marketing needs. Organize your work so you never have to stop. Follow a sequence of steps, as our photos show, that allow you to let one part of the prep work dry while you go on to the next chore. The first few steps will give you the idea. Seal water stains on the ceiling, and while they're drying, sand the gloss and prime the woodwork. While the primer dries, put the first coat of paint on the ceiling, and so on. If you're the kind of person who would prefer to work your tail off for a weekend rather than stretch the project out over several relaxed days, this story is especially for you. But even if you prefer the laid-back approach to painting, following these steps will yield excellent results with less hassle. Step 1. Lay a drop cloth and tape floor edges. Protect the carpet with 3-in masking tape. Run the tape about 1-2 in onto the face of the baseboard and push it down under the base with a wallpaper smoothing tool. Putty knives will cut the tape when you're forcing it down. Lay drop cloths over the floor and on top of the tape. Remove all switch plate covers. Put tape over the outlets and switches and remove all wall-mounted grates. Also cover any hardware, such as doorstops and hinges, and remove knobs and door stripe plates. Step 2. Remove wall obstructions and tape fixtures. Remove everything from the wall, including picture hangers and outlet cover plates. Remove light fixture covers and mask the bases with plastic bags and tape. Then seal old water stains with a spray stain killer. Step 3. Sand and clean the woodwork. Sand all the woodwork with 100 grit, medium sanding sponges to slightly rough and smooth hard surfaces and to dull glossy finishes. Sanding doesn't simply smooth out scratches, dents, and bumps. It also slightly rough and smooth hard surfaces so paint adheres better. A deglosser works faster and better on hard varnishes, especially if they're greasy. Step 4. Prime the woodwork. Prime smaller trim such as casings, base, and door jambs with a 2-in brush, and roll doors with a 7-in wide, 1/4-in nap roller sleeve on a 7-in roller frame. Prime the woodwork with a fast-drying solvent-based oil or alcohol primer, not a water-based latex. Don't be overly concerned if you slop some primer on adjoining walls, but be sure to smooth out large globs of paint. If you don't, they'll show through the wall paint later. Step 5. Roll the first paint coat on the ceiling. Roll as lightly as possible on this first coat in one direction only. Your objective is to apply a coat of paint to lock in the rough particles so they'll stay put when you do the second, thicker coat. You're painting 2 sides of each texture particle. You'll pick up the other 2 sides when you recoat in the opposite direction. Again, don't worry too much about slopping some paint on the walls, but avoid a large buildup. Tip: test roll the textured ceiling in a closet or other hidden area first. If flaking's a problem, either spray paint it or use a quick drying oil or alcohol-based primer. Step 6. Sand, fill, and caulk the woodwork. Sand the walls with 100 grit sandpaper to remove bumps from the old paint job, rough edges of drywall paper around any gouges, and any other imperfections. A drywall sander, photo 13, will make the job easier. Sand prime the woodwork with a medium grit sanding sponge. Fill any wall blemishes such as nail holes and gouges with a non-shrinking spackling compound, and lightly sand after they're dry. Dust all the woodwork with an old, soft paintbrush or duster. Then caulk gaps around the woodwork edges. Step 7. Cut in and roll the second ceiling coat. Drag a flat screwdriver over the edges of ceilings to remove a thin line of texture. This will ensure crisp paint lines later when you're cutting in the wall paint along the ceiling. Photo 8 shows a simple way to make a flat edge along a textured ceiling. Without that edge, you can't cut in cleanly along the ceiling with the wall paint. Finish the ceiling before starting the walls. Step 8. Paint the woodwork. Now brush the first coat of latex trim paint onto the woodwork. Primer is now dry with brush and roll doors with a 1/4-in nap roller. Then break for the day to let the paint dry. Depending on coverage, you may need to recoat the woodwork the next day. If so, lightly sand between coats with 220 grit sandpaper to smooth brush marks. Step 9. Tape the woodwork. Tape all woodwork seams with painter's tape. Lay the tape onto the woodwork and press it into the caulk with the corner of your putty knife to prevent the wall paint from bleeding behind the tape onto the woodwork. Let the tape stick out perpendicular to the trim to act as a little protective roof to catch paint drips. Day 2. If you've been able to push through the first day, Your room should be ready to finish on the second, more leisurely, day. It takes too long and takes too steady a hand to cut the wall paint and around all the woodwork. You'd have to do it well for each coat. It's much easier and faster to mask it, making sure that the tape adheres tightly to the edge so paint doesn't ooze under. The ceiling wall joint is an exception. You can cut in by hand there. Overview. The key to streak-free wall painting is to maintain a wet edge. The wet cut-in paint should blend with the rolled areas to prevent picture framing or shadow lines at hand-painted rolled junctions. Roll from top to bottom, from right to left, keeping the unsupported side of the roller frame pointing toward the left. Photo 12. Apply slightly heavier pressure to the unsupported side of the roller to eliminate roller tracks. We are going to end this video right away. If you have any query or information to share, please leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.